Hello, my name is Carla Anderton, and I am what is known as a ripperologist, a person who studies the murders allegedly carried out by the enigma that is Jack the Ripper. I can't remember a time when I wasn't fascinated by the subject. Today I'd like to take you on a journey back in time. The year is 1888, the place London, England. The last days of summer draw to a close. Victoria is queen, with 13 years left in her 63-year-long reign. Her consort, Albert, is long dead. The gulf between the haves and the have-nots, much like today, is expansive. While some exist in luxury, there are even more living lives of quiet desperation, doing whatever it takes to secure their next meal and to ensure they have lodgings for the night. Still, regardless of class, the people of London have no idea what awaits them in the autumn of fear, and of the terror that will unite them despite their vast differences. Whitechapel, located in the East End of London, was a bustling and densely populated area in the late 1880s, characterized by a vibrant mix of cultures and socio-economic backgrounds. The area was notorious for its poverty and high crime rates, with many residents living in overcrowded and unsanitary conditions. It was a hub for criminal activities, including theft, prostitution, and illegal gambling. Whitechapel gained significant notoriety during this period due to the infamous series of unsolved murders known as the Whitechapel murders, or Jack the Ripper killings. The mysterious and brutal murders, predominantly targeting female prostitutes, sent shockwaves throughout London and captured the public and the media's attention. Before his fiendish work is done, the murderer, dubbed Jack the Ripper, will claim the lives of at least 5 women, the generally accepted canonical victims. Though it's questionable just how many women Jack killed, I'd like to focus on those 5 today. Mary Ann "Polly" Nichols is first to meet her end at the hands of the Ripper. On August 31st, she is discovered with her throat severely cut and multiple stab wounds to her abdomen in Buck's Row. 8 days later, Annie Chapman becomes the Ripper's second victim. She is found around 6 a.m. by John Davis, with her throat viciously slashed open, her intestines resting on her shoulder, and her uterus missing. The Ripper's next victim, Elizabeth "Long Liz" Stride, suffers only the indignity of having her throat cut, but she is no less dead. It is thought Jack was interrupted before he had a chance to mutilate her body like her predecessor, Annie Chapman. This theory gains credibility when the body of Catherine Eddowes is discovered roughly an hour later. Eddowes is the first of the victims with extensive facial mutilations. In the words of an Old English proverb, Jack cut off her nose to spite her face. Mary Jane Kelly is murdered in her bed on November 9th, murdered most foul, virtually dissected in what should have been the safety of her lodgings. It would take less time to mention what about her was left intact than what wasn't. The Ripper took his time with her. He took the time he wasn't able to take with the others. The end result is the stuff of nightmares. Gruesome as it is, her death perhaps marks the end of the terror. Or does it? There are many suspects and multiple theories as to why the crimes were committed, but despite the efforts of the police, the killer is never apprehended. Jack the Ripper was a celebrity in his own right, but there are also many celebrities among the ever-widening pool of suspects, including a royal prince and a famous artist. Montague John Druitt was a person of interest in the Jack the Ripper case. Born in 1857, he was a barrister and schoolteacher. Druitt's inclusion in the list of suspects stemmed from his mental state, as he was believed to have suffered from depression. He was found dead in the Thames River in December 1888, shortly after the final canonical Ripper murder, leading some to speculate that he may have been the elusive killer. However, Due to a lack of conclusive evidence, Druitt's involvement in the Jack the Ripper murders remains uncertain and highly debated among ripperologists. Aaron Kosminski is a suspect who gained attention in connection to the Jack the Ripper case. Born in 1865 in Poland, Kosminski was a Polish Jewish immigrant who lived in Whitechapel, London at the time of the murders. He was admitted to a mental institution in 1891 and remained there until his death in 1919. In the 20th century, some researchers identified Kosminski as a possible suspect based on police records and witness testimonies. However, conclusive evidence linking him directly to the crimes has not been established, and his involvement remains speculative. Francis Tumblety was another person of interest in the case. Born in 1833, Tumblety was an American quack doctor and showman who had a controversial reputation. He had a fascination with human anatomy and allegedly collected body parts. Tumblety was arrested in London in 1888 on unrelated charges, but was released before the Jack the Ripper murders began. Some investigators at the time considered him a viable suspect, but there is no concrete evidence linking him definitively to the crimes. The true extent of Tumblety's involvement in the case remains unclear to this day. Walter Sickert is a controversial figure who has been suggested as a possible suspect in the case. Born in 1860, Sickert was an English painter and a prominent figure in the art world. Some ripperologists and theorists believe that Sickert had insider knowledge of the Whitechapel murders due to the alleged similarities between his paintings and the Ripper's crime scenes. However, concrete evidence linking Sickert to the crimes has never been established, and many experts dismiss these claims as mere speculation or conspiracy theories. The connection between Walter Sickert and Jack the Ripper remains a subject of ongoing debate and conjecture. George Chapman, who was born in Poland in 1865, is another suspect in connection to the Jack the Ripper case. Chapman immigrated to London in the 1880s and later became a poisoner, ultimately being convicted and executed for poisoning his wives. Some researchers believe that Chapman's violent tendencies and his proximity to the Whitechapel area during the Ripper murders make him a potential candidate. However, there is no definitive evidence linking him directly to the Jack the Ripper crimes, and the extent of his involvement, if any, remains uncertain. The royal conspiracy is a theory that suggests the involvement of a member of the British royal family in the Jack the Ripper murders. This theory suggests the identity of Jack the Ripper was concealed and protected by powerful individuals to prevent scandal and maintain the reputation of the monarchy. Various names, including Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence, have been put forth as potential suspects. However, this theory lacks substantial evidence and is widely regarded as speculative and unfounded. The royal conspiracy remains a controversial aspect of Ripper lore, captivating the imaginations of some, but dismissed by most experts as unsubstantiated speculation. Then there are the men who hunted Jack the Ripper, men who made, staked, and even destroyed their careers as a consequence of the hunt. Frederick Aberline was a renowned detective who played a significant role in investigating the Jack the Ripper case. Born in 1843, Aberline served as an inspector in the Metropolitan Police's H Division, responsible for the Whitechapel area. He was known for his thoroughness and attention to detail. Aberline interviewed witnesses, examined crime scenes, and gathered evidence during the investigation. Although he never managed to catch Jack the Ripper, Aberline's expertise and insights contributed to shaping the understanding of the case. After retiring from the police force, he maintained a keen interest in the Ripper case and its unsolved mysteries. Inspector Edmund Reed was a prominent figure in the investigation of the murders. Born in 1846, Reed served as the head of the H Division of the Metropolitan Police, which covered the Whitechapel area. He led the initial investigations into the Ripper crimes, coordinating efforts and overseeing the work of his detectives. Despite facing significant challenges and public pressure, Reed remained committed to solving the case. While the Jack the Ripper killings remained unsolved during his tenure, Reed's contributions to the investigation and his dedication to maintaining law and order in Whitechapel earned him recognition as a diligent and resilient investigator. The legend of Jack the Ripper endures. Why, you might ask? Circumstances then and now contributed to the public fascination with the Ripper. Today, I'd like to talk specifically about that fascination and why it stood the test of time. Many decades before Charles Manson, O.J. Simpson, or Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, Jack the Ripper quickly becomes a media sensation, a century before the advent of court TV. This begs the question, what medium is responsible for spreading the word? The answer can be found in the answer to a simple riddle. What's black and white and red all over? Newspapers. Newspapers, the medium that led to the coinage of the phrase, if it bleeds, it leads. And, in the case of Jack the Ripper, there was no shortage of blood. There's no question the Jack the Ripper murders were a veritable goldmine for the press, particularly after they began publishing the letters allegedly written by the killer. The Dear Boss letter is a notorious piece of correspondence believed to have been sent by Jack the Ripper during the Autumn of Terror in 1888. The letter, postmarked September 27th, was received by the Central News Agency in London. It begins with the chilling salutation, Dear Boss, and contains graphic details of the Ripper's supposed crimes. The letter also includes the infamous signature, Yours truly, Jack the Ripper, which further added to its notoriety. Despite its authenticity being disputed, the Dear Boss letter remains an eerie and chilling artifact from one of history's most elusive and horrifying serial killers. The From Hell letter is another infamous communication associated with Jack the Ripper. It was received on October 16, 1888, by George Lusk, the head of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee. The letter was accompanied by a small box containing half a human kidney, believed to have been taken from one of the Ripper's victims. The From Hell letter, written in red ink, claims responsibility for the kidney and taunts the recipient. While the authenticity of the letter has been questioned, its grisly contents and disturbing message have contributed to its lasting notoriety in the Jack the Ripper saga. The Saucy Jack letter is yet another infamous correspondence attributed to Jack the Ripper. It was postmarked on October 1, 1888, and received by the Central News Agency. The letter, written in red ink, includes details of the Ripper's alleged crimes and is signed off as Yours truly, Jack the Ripper. The letter's taunting and boastful tone, along with its grisly content, have made it a subject of intense fascination and speculation in the ongoing investigation into the identity of Jack the Ripper. There is no record of Jack the Ripper directly sending a letter specifically to Israel Schwartz or Joseph Lewinde. However, both Schwartz and Lewinde were witnesses in the Jack the Ripper case and provided valuable testimonies to the police. Schwartz claimed to have seen a man assaulting a woman on the night of the murder of Elizabeth Stride, while Lewinde reported seeing a suspicious man in the vicinity of the murder of Catherine Eddowes. Their testimonies played a role in the investigation, but there is no known letter associated with either of them directly from Jack the Ripper. Ripperology has spawned a cottage industry of sorts. Outside of the realm of those who study the Ripper, there are also those who built commercial enterprises on the back of this mysterious figure. Even a cursory search of the internet reveals dozens of tour companies offering Jack the Ripper walking tours, including the one run by oftentimes guide and noted Ripperologist Donald Rumbelow. There are books, movies, even video games about the Ripper crimes. Alan Moore and Eddie Campbell's graphic novel From Hell provides a fictionalized account of the Jack the Ripper murders, incorporating conspiracy theories and occult elements. The story was adapted into a film in 2001, directed by the Hughes brothers and starring Johnny Depp and Heather Graham. The complete Jack the Ripper was written by Donald Rumbelow, a renowned ripperologist. This comprehensive book explores the historical context, the victims, the investigations, and the various theories surrounding the Jack the Ripper case. It is a valuable resource for those interested in delving into the details of the infamous murders. The Diary of Jack the Ripper was published by Shirley Harrison, the daughter-in-law of investigator Robert Anderson. This book presents a controversial diary allegedly written by James Maybrick, a Liverpool cotton merchant who claimed to be Jack the Ripper. The authenticity of this diary is highly debated among ripperologists. Stephen Knight's book, Jack the Ripper, The Final Solution, proposes a conspiracy theory suggesting that the Ripper murders were part of a high-level cover-up involving Freemasonry, the British royal family, and other influential figures. While highly speculative, the book gained attention for its intriguing and controversial hypothesis. Directed by Alfred Hitchcock in 1927, The Lodger is a silent film loosely inspired by the Jack the Ripper murders. It's the story of a mysterious lodger suspected of being a serial killer. The film is known for its atmospheric tension and for the innovative filmmaking techniques employed by Hitchcock. The killings caused great panic and fear in Whitechapel and throughout London, with the media sensationalizing the crimes and the hunt for the elusive serial killer. The brutal nature of the murders and the apparent lack of progress in capturing the killer led to intense public scrutiny of the police and speculation about the identity of Jack the Ripper. Despite extensive investigations and countless theories, the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains unknown, and the case remains one of the most infamous unsolved mysteries in criminal history. The Jack the Ripper murders had a significant impact on society. They became a symbol of the darker side of Victorian London, highlighting issues such as poverty, prostitution, and the vulnerability of marginalized women. The Whitechapel murders prompted debates about social reform, police procedures, and the treatment of women in society, leading to calls for improved living conditions, increased protection for prostitutes, and advancements in forensic science. The case attracted the attention of prominent figures and intellectuals of the time, such as Arthur Conan Doyle and George Bernard Shaw, who offered their insights and opinions on the murders and the possible identity of Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper's legacy continues to captivate the public's imagination, with numerous books, films, and documentaries dedicated to exploring the crimes, the suspects, and the enduring mystery surrounding one of history's most notorious serial killers.